but also it was another classic Eagles game where they had so many injuries that you didn't even know the names of the players on the field to the point the announcer was like, I can't believe this. I haven't seen anything like this. And this is about the fourth or fifth time as Eagles fans we've been through a game where the announcer's like, I cannot believe how many people have gotten injured for this team. We're like, welcome. Welcome to the factory of sadness.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there. There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
That is
the team you promised me you were going to be this year!
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.
Welcome to episode 33 of Birds vs. Boys. Hopefully, Aidan Powers has football on the brain, not basketball, since he was just recording PNR, the new basketball podcast you're going to have to check out. But here we stick to football, specifically Cowboys and Eagles, which there is a ton to talk about, especially on your side, Aidan. How are you, my friend?
I am terrific. Here's why. We started this podcast for the Eagles and the Cowboys, just like you said. It is December. Mm-hmm. It is the week before Christmas. Mm-hmm. It is episode 33 of this podcast. It is week 14 of the NFL season. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the first time we are recording after both of our teams have won.
I believe you are 100% correct. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Not me. But here we are. It happened. Our teams both won on the same weekend. We almost made it to the finish line without it happening, which statistically seems almost impossible. But you know what? We did it. And here we are. So a lot of good content to dive into.
What do you think would have been more likely? One, it took this long for both of our teams to win in a single week. 2, we make it 33 episodes. Or C, we're TikTok superstars now.
The TikTok thing was by far the most ridiculous thing. The fact that that's blown up. So follow us on TikTok. But yeah, that happening is the most remarkable thing. Somehow more remarkable than it taking 14 weeks for both of our teams to win on the same week.
My wife is so angry because I just constantly walk around the house being like, I'm a talk star. She's like, you're 33 years old. Shut the fuck up.
Which was your response when our producer Vince was like, hey, we should probably do a TikTok to promote our content. And you're like, I'm 33 years old.
But hey, look at us now. All right.
We won a game. We promote on TikTok. Here it is.
I got a Santa hat on, and we are sponsored by Stateside Vodka. We got a lot happening. What a
world.
So before we get into Birds versus Boys, we're going to go a little bit around the NFL. So on our Tuesday episode, we always go through in 1 minute the games that happened this weekend. So producer Vince puts up a clock, which he probably doesn't have ready.
If he has
but
a clock.
Does have ready. Look at this guy. So 60 seconds on the clock. We're going to go through the NFL games from this weekend, not including the Birds and the Boys. So 3, 2, 1. A.J. Brown made one of the most phenomenal touchdown catches I have ever seen. Titans win 31-10 over the hapless Jags.
Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, really the only 2 talented people in the Vikings offense. They just didn't have enough for the Bucs, lose 26-14.
Well, that was fun, seeing Patrick Mahomes not be good for about 7 minutes. But the Chiefs find a way to win 33-27. But the Dolphins are a good football team.
Who are you and what have you done with Drew Lock? Broncos win 32-27 over the Panthers.
Mitchell Trubisky has a better winning percentage than Deshaun Watson in his career. Bears win 36-7.
Cardinals with a bit of a shocker, unless you listen to my gambling picks. They win and pretty much dominate. Hassan Reddick, Temple made 5 sacks, 26-7 over the Giants.
Colts run all over the Las Vegas Raiders, who fired their defensive coordinator today. Colts win 44-27 in Vegas.
Seahawks 40, Jets 3. I mean, there's no jokes you can even say for the Jets at this point.
Packers win 31-24. Again, this is every NFC North game I ever see. They're the same game.
The assholes somehow met a team that could rival their assholeness, and they still managed to asshole it up and lose like assholes. Chargers 20, assholes 27 or 17.
The Washington football team is fun to watch. That defensive line is unbelievable. They go out to San Francisco, which is really in Arizona, and play the 49ers and win 23-15.
Statement of the week. Bills win 26-15 over the other TikTok stars, the Steelers.
1 minute on the dot. Look at
that. 1 minute and then 10 and then 10 and then more 10s and then, yeah, we did it on the dot.
Well, at least we've gotten closer since the bye weeks and the, COVID games and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. One more thing that we wanted to do, something different tonight, since we're getting later on in the season. Check our TikTok for, we put our power rankings that we do on Thursdays on there. We've also done MVP a little bit. I have. Maybe Aidan will get involved this week if he wants to. But we're going to go Rookie of the Year here. Since
I did one with you like 3 days ago, like literally 3 days ago.
That was a fantasy draft, which was a lot of fun. So Rookie of the Year, we're going to go 1 down to 5. So I will graciously let you go first. So our top 5 Rookies of the Year after 14 weeks of NFL football.
My number 1 is going to shock you. Chase Young, Washington football team. Their defense is going to carry this team probably to the division. He will be dominant for the next 10 years. Rookie of the Year, best rookie, number 1, stamped Chase Young.
That's a great pick, actually. I kind of forgot about Chase Young. He's not in my top 5 here. Probably should be. That's really bad on me. That's a great pick. My number 1 as of right now is the quarterback of that other asshole team, Justin Herbert, for the Los Angeles Chargers.
He's my number 2, so I'll just get out there. Justin Herbert, number 2.
Number 2 for me is a guy that you are very angry at, very jealous of, very not happy about, very bugabooed about. Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver that could be in midnight green but is in purple for the Vikings. Justin Jefferson, number 2 on my Rookie of the Year list.
Don't know if you saw, but Jalen Reagor did have a 40-yard reception yesterday, and he high-fived the guy in the process. So
he did do that.
I don't know. My number 3, James Robinson of the Jaguars. Pretty impressive what he's been able to do. Undrafted rookie. Over 1,000 yards from scrimmage already for a pretty bad Jaguars team. It's really remarkable what he's been able to do. Wasn't even the starter going into the season.
I am going to put Chase Claypool at 3. I flip-flopped on myself here. I'm going to put Chase there at 3. Yeah, he's fallen off a tiny bit. The Steelers have kind of fallen off themselves. He only had, I think, 3 catches for 15 yards Sunday night, but he was a beast in the first half of the season. So give me Chase Claypool, rookie wide receiver for the Steelers at 3.
At 4, I've got Tua. I think he'd be higher if he had been playing the entire season, but the Dolphins really with him continue to improve. They gave the Chiefs all they could handle. They could make the playoffs with Tua, so he's my number 4.
This is where we, for the first time, are the same. So I am putting Tua there as well. He was 3 for me that I have written in front of me, but then as I was talking, I thought that exact same thing that you said, so I put Chase above him and put Tua at 4, just for the number of games played.
That's fair. I think that's very fair. And my number 5 is a name that you said already, Chase Claypool. I think the Steelers have struggled recently, but they'll get things together. He's been a big part of that offense from the start, scored 3 touchdowns on my favorite team, the Eagles. So maybe it's a little bit of recency bias seeing him kill my team, but he's my number 5. And can't really think of any receivers who are better than him.
I, at number 5, now kind of want to put Chase Young there just to have him on my list, but I'm not going to cheat. He's not on my list written down. Not going to cheat. So I am keeping Joe Burrow there. I think what he did before he got hurt, he deserves to be on this list. Doesn't deserve to win it because you need to play that entire season, but I feel like he deserves to be on the list. So Joe Burrow at 5 for me.
All right, enough of this. Let's get into the rookies that matter.
Badaz for the
Speaking of
Cowboys.
rookies that matter, I had a celebrity pick here. Ruby says
Teddy Bear.
rookie of the year is Jalen Hurts because we got her in Missouri 20 minutes from the Oklahoma border, and we were watching the game, and she was telling me about how she watched Jalen Hurts in college. And she's like, I think this guy's the rookie of the year. She's going to take this team to new heights.
When he played at Missouri.
Vince is a TikTok star, and now his dog is also going to be a TikTok star.
People just come to watch Vince, not us on TikTok. But that's fine. Just come anyway.
I love that revelation.
All right. I feel like you have a lot more to talk about than I do in this game. I do have things to talk about, some good things and some bad things about the Cowboys. But would you like to wait and go second since you have a lot to talk about, or do you just need to verbally throw up right now?
Gotta get it all out.
Go for it.
Let's just get it. Let's get it going. Let's do it. Let's do the thing. Yes.
The birds are first in the name of the podcast, so we will let you go first.
Thank you. Even though I know chronologically you won first, I think I can keep it somewhat short and sweet. Somewhat. But here's what I tweeted precisely 1 hour before the game. Feels like the most Eagles win of all time. Lethargic Saints team against an Eagles team that just got a wake-up call and black jerseys would hurt their draft order and create more QB hysteria. The city lives in a constant state of chaos. Well, could it have unfolded any more like that?
No. It was perfect. That is
like
just
to a T.
Like
exactly.
Does anyone know this team, know this city more than you do? No.
Dude, it's like I could write scripts for this team. In Philadelphia, things aren't easy. Even when things go well, it's not going to be easy. Like there's always going to be a backwards storyline to talk about behind the scenes. Like you can't just enjoy a win. Like we always say, like with the AFC North this year, like they just win and that's kind of it, and then you're just done. But with us, it's just different. So Vince is pulling up the tweet right now.
There's the tweet.
3:28 p.m. 1 hour before the game, 4:25 kickoff. You know how it goes. It's like they are as predictable as a Hallmark movie. You know what the ending is going to be.
I said it to my wife too. I was like, this just reeks of an Eagles win. It's just these are just the type of games they win. Kind of like earlier in the season when they were going to San Francisco. I was just like, they're beat up. This is a game they win. Last year when they went to Green Bay, I'm like, this is an Eagle. This is not a game the Cowboys win. This is the game that the Eagles just they find a way to win, especially with Hurts coming in, especially the black jersey. It just that's what they do. That's who they are.
Here's what you got to do. It's like Stranger Things when they're in the Upside Down, except in our Upside Down, it's not dark. You just have to take logic and reason and take it out of the Upside Down. And that's what it's like. So once you remove logic and reason from your world, now you're living in Philadelphia. That's how the Eagles exist, without logic or reason and in constant hysteria.
So are you in hysteria now? Or are you?
No, but I do. There were like positive things. I still don't know. I guess my whole point from before was like, even if Jalen Hurts is a success, like you can't even do anything about it because you still have $128 million in your backup. Mm-hmm. So like my point before this week still exists where they've created a whole, it just, the pick never made sense. Even if he's good, it did not make sense. But it was just so funny seeing that team because it was like the meme of Patrick coming back to his house with the eyeballs, and you're like, "Who are you people?" Like in more ways than one. Yeah. Because to start the game, I meant it in a way like, "Where have these plays been the entire year? Like Wentz had to been sitting on the bench like." So now we're running these plays. Like they ran a jet sweep to Quez Watkins on the first play, or not the first play, on the first drive, like to get him into space. They activated him, They ran a reverse to Jalen Reagor. They're rolling out Hurts all the time. We've been begging for weeks, just roll the quarterback out. They finally do it. He's got to be over there like, really? And even on the defensive side, like they've had 4 interceptions this year. 4. There are players with more interceptions than the entire Eagles team, and they get one in the first half. Duke Riley, like everything you haven't seen from this team, they put it on the field on Sunday.
That's one spot where, again, we keep saying how the Cowboys and Eagles have kind of mirrored themselves a shit ton this year.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they mirror themselves by both winning. And again, they got 3 turnovers in the first 3 drives of the game yesterday. Who are you people?
Right?
Like,
yeah. That was the Cowboys were the classic one. There's always one game every week on Red Zone where they click on Red Zone, it kicks off, and you're like, wait, how are they in the Red Zone already? And it's like, because they immediately forced a turnover within the first minute of the game.
And then all of a sudden, I didn't get to watch the full Cowboys game, obviously, because it wasn't on, but I was watching on Red Zone. And then all of a sudden they like click over like midway through a play, and there's Aldon Smith just like running 80 yards. I'm like, what? No.
Yeah.
Hold it out.
What is happening? Trip at the 2 like Daniel Jones.
And everybody, all the fantasy things yesterday were like, pick up the Cowboys defense. I'm like, have you watched the Cowboys defense? And I didn't. I picked up Carolina's defense, and that worked out great.
You know what defense I had?
Huh? Eagles? The Saints. Oh, that worked out even better.
I got -1. They were the first ranked defense going into the week, and they got -1. Even when I win, I lose.
Before we get back to the Eagles, are you out of the playoffs?
No, our playoffs. I am in the playoffs.
Okay.
Crazy that I made it into the playoffs. My team
remember that.
Ape shit. And then I'm in the playoffs now. It's a 2 weeks. We do it 2 weeks now for the semifinals, 2 weeks for the championship. So I'm in the semifinals. So even if I lose this week, like I can still
have a shot.
have to outscore him total over 2 weeks. So I'm still in it. But I'll tell you what, if my defense would have put up anything other than -1, it would have been great.
I lost both of my leagues, and I'm okay with it though. Like I tweeted earlier today, Dobby, I'm free. That's how I feel. I'm free. I'm a free elf. That's exactly how. That's just how I feel right now. It's done. It's over. Get me away.
I've liked it this season because usually watching my team has just been a disaster. So fantasy gives me a relief. Now we'll get into it on Wednesday, but I have come to the ultimate crossroads where I have Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, and that is the Eagles' next opponent. And that is one of the things that I wanted to talk about is I have 2 points here. One, Jim Schwartz being the MVP because he's had these guys ready every single week, even when the offense has been anemic. He's been put in bad positions, and they still deliver. But also, it was another classic Eagles game where they had so many injuries that you didn't even know the names of the players on the field to the point the announcer was like, I can't believe this. I haven't seen anything like this. And this is about the 4th or 5th time as Eagles fans we've been through a game where the announcer's like, I cannot believe how many people have gotten injured for this team. We're like, welcome. Welcome to the factory of sadness.
And we mirror ourselves once again because Red Zone clicked over to the Cowboys, and all of a sudden it was like a ball in the end zone. And I see this guy going like this for the Cowboys, 32, Smith. And I'm like, who is this? I know number 32. Did Emmitt Smith? Is he back? But he put a 3 in front of his. I don't know who this is. So
there was a corner who gave up the touchdown to Emmanuel Sanders. I believe his last name was Seymour, and 37. But Darius Slay's in concussion protocol. Avonte Maddox is going to miss some time, and Rodney McLeod tore his ACL. So we play DeAndre Hopkins next week.
and I'm out of fantasy with Hopkins and Kyler. Awesome.
Great. Yeah, just had to last one more week, man. Just one more week. But no, I mean, Jim Schwartz doing more with less and really just constantly be putting in a bad spot. And Taysom Hill, I'm not sold on him being a starter. Yesterday did not help his cause, but I really think it has to do more with Jim Schwartz, his game plan. And, I mean, Alvin Kamara didn't go off. They didn't let Taysom Hill hurt them with his legs. The linebackers played really well, which has been a huge problem all year. And by the end of the game, you're once again just like trying to patch together 11 players to take the field. And he still was able to get it done and force a huge fourth down with Josh Sweat, who's been fantastic this year.
Yeah, he has been. Didn't he? He had a really good camp, right? Didn't they say something about his practice jersey was going to go into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah. So that was the whole, just to like bring it full circle on the offensive line for the Eagles and just like what a tilt-a-whirl it's been. So they lost Andre Dillard.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't move Jason Peters over because at the time he was playing guard before the guards got hurt. So they had Matt Pryor playing left tackle, and that Santa that you just pulled up scared the shit out of me. I did not see that coming. And then Josh Sweat had 7 sacks. Merry Christmas, Santa. I did not see that coming at all. I looked up. I was like reading my notes for where I wanted to go, and it did not want to go with Santa staring me in the face.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
So I was very impressed with the way the Eagles defense was flying around too, and just they seemed like they had an answer for almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had that one, that Emmanuel Sanders touchdown was kind of like the only time it really felt like they had like a breakdown almost.
Mm-hmm. And it came very soon after the play where Maddox and Maddox got hurt on his own. Slay and Rodney McLeod got hurt on the same play after Maddox. So it was the series following that. You know, it is what it is sometimes. You just have to live with it. And like you said, it was really the only big home run play that they've had. So he was my MVP, was Jim Schwartz. Now, my runner-up, even as captain of the Wentz wagon, was Jalen Hurts. And we talked about it last week. His legs and his mobility is so key for this team, this offensive line. It has been bookmarked in every single national broadcast that they have a different offensive line unit every time they take the field. And they did again on Sunday. And he is like, they are like Banks, the offensive line. They're like Banks, and Jalen Hurts is their bailout. Like anytime they get in trouble, he can just take off. It's the same as what we do in this country. If the bank goes into the red, we're just going to give them money and bail them out. That's what Jalen Hurts does. So his mobility, that we talked about it, over 100 yards rushing, it was just such an X factor.
How about the Saints had not given up a 100-yard rusher in 3 years, and they gave up 2 yesterday.
I cannot believe, like, another thing with Wentz, like, he's got to be over there, like, now we're giving the ball to Miles Sanders. Now we're doing. Miles Sanders, 18 touches. Like, why? Why did we not do this? I do not get it. Some of these things, like, I thought Hurts played well, and I thought a lot of it was his legs, but like 18 touches for Miles Sanders. It does not matter. Nate Sudfeld could be the quarterback. Why was that not a thing until this week?
I don't know. And why did the Saints defensive coordinator and Sean Payton and all of them, did they just think they weren't going to run the ball yesterday? Maybe because that hasn't been the Eagles' MO, but were they just going into that game and like, well, they should run the ball because it's a rookie quarterback coming in his first start against the number 1 defense in the league, and they have a good running back. But we're going to outthink them. So I think they're overthinking this, and they're going to throw the ball 75 times. So we're just going to back everybody up and we're just going to play the pass. Yeah. It was like, and then the Eagles started running, and they're like, "What? I don't understand."
Yeah, they really didn't. So that's what actually worries me about Hurts is like, okay, now you have the tape that he's just going to take off. So if you've seen what teams are doing, the Kyler Murray recently, like we talked about with fantasy, I watch the Cardinals every week out of necessity. They highlighted it in the game against the Giants yesterday. They're not even rushing. They're just building a wall and just like making him throw over it.
Yep.
Instead of like rushing and trying to get a sack. They're like, eventually he's just going to try to take off and he'll just run right into us, which I think is eventually what they're going to do to Jalen Hurts. So we talked about this. Is the mobility thing, is it long-term or is it short-term? Like, I love mobile quarterbacks. I love dual threats, but there's a reason why, aside from, unless you count Mahomes as a dual threat, you don't see many of them win a Super Bowl. Like, your arm has to be your best weapon. And I don't know if it's like that for Hurts yet, but I don't know. It's like he almost didn't even have to throw it. Like if he was in a situation where he had to throw, he still could be good. But I don't know. It just, I'm worried about that being like a short-term thing.
Yeah, no, it is. I think he has, I don't know. It's like a guy like Lamar Jackson. I don't think he's ever going to be able to lead a team to a Super Bowl. I really don't think so, or at least win it. So I think Jalen maybe has a little bit better of an arm than Lamar. I think he's got better touch. You definitely see he's worked on his touch. Like even his first touchdown pass in the Green Bay game, you just saw the touch that he did not have that touch 3 years ago at Alabama.
I was going to say, when he was at Alabama, that was not there. I don't know. Lincoln Riley, man, like there's going to be an NFL coach that is, or an NFL team that is going to hire him as a coach and be very happy, because what he does with these quarterbacks just to get the Baker, Kyler, Jalen, they really do a great job in developing those quarterbacks. And he was not like that when we saw him at Alabama.
Dak. Yeah, come to Dallas is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, that would scare me. Like if he's there
last year,
Dallas, you have to make that move.
Yeah, it's not happening.
I know, but that's on your front office. But yeah, so
it's not on the front office; it's on one man.
But yeah, well, it's a dictatorship. So when I say front office, I mean the leader of the pack there in the front office, I guess I should say.
He basically said on the radio the other day, he's like, "Well, why would I hire a general manager? Because I'm going to ultimately make the decision anyway of like who to draft and what to do. So why don't I'm just killing two birds with one stone." And I was like,
just do it so he has a scapegoat. Anytime he messes up, he can just be like, "Well, I hired a general manager, and like he didn't solve the problem for me."
Well, it's because he is just. I've learned that Jerry Jones is so. He's so still upset about the 90s, and I know this is before Vince was alive and you were very young. In the 90s, the Cowboys were a very, very good football team, right? They won 3 Super Bowls. But everybody gives the glory, not to God, but to Jimmy Johnson, because Jimmy Johnson built the team and coached the team. And when they talk about those teams, Jerry doesn't get the respect that he wants. So he's trying to prove so badly that he is a football guy and not just a business guy. And that's exactly why he's trying to do this. And he's trying to win one to prove that he can do it without Jimmy and that he's the football guy, but it's never going to fucking happen.
Sorry, he's like overthinking at this point.
Oh, yeah,
I watched about 75 episodes of Saved by the Bell this weekend. There was a marathon on. Only thing I know about the 90s.
It's a great show.
Well, I've got a few wrap-up points before we get into the Cowboys. So I think the biggest thing to me, aside from Jalen Hurts, like it is, again, my main point, I don't hate Jalen Hurts as much as it kind of seems like it, just because I love Wentz so much. But my overarching point is, can any quarterback succeed here? Have we created an environment where a quarterback can succeed? Can we develop and add talent in the future so that we can build around this guy and give him, like Josh Allen with the Bills? They have built a system and a culture where he can be an MVP candidate and they can win playoff games. And it was not always like that. The same needs to be applied here, and it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. And one of those things is you have to protect this guy. Jordan Mailata is starting to look like the left tackle of the future. And we have talked about all of the mistakes that Howie Roseman has made. And one of those still is at left tackle, because Andre Dillard, like, what do you do with him if Mailata's the tackle? But if he and Jack Driscoll, Mailata was a 7th round rugby player from Australia, and he's looking like the left tackle of the future. And Jack Driscoll played really well as well. He was a 5th round pick from Auburn who shifted between guard and tackle and transferred from UMass. Like they might have hit on some gems, which is huge when you have cap space situations,
major cap space
situations. And so if you can get guys like that who are good, that's what you have to do to succeed. Like the Chiefs are going to be in that position. Like you owe a guy $500 million. You better find some kid in Australia to play that for you and hope it works out. Like they are going to be in that position very soon. But the Eagles were there. Javon Hargrave, they gave him money. And that's one of those, like, a few weeks ago, you're like, well, this contract's a bust. We got to get out of this one too. But now he's playing so well. Like, all right, now your money's being utilized. And there's still things, like, could we go after Allen Robinson this summer? No, we owe a kicker $8 million and he can't make it from 22 yards. Like, there's still boneheaded front office things. I still want to be in a steel cage death match with Howie Roseman, not Jalen Hurts, Howie Roseman. So there's still things, but like, there's at least positives,
Yep. Yeah, no, I don't think you have hatred towards Jalen Hurts, because it's not like he came and like stole your girlfriend. It's not like he chose and said, I'm coming to the Eagles to beat out Carson Wentz.
No,
they chose him.
That was
So
one of my
what is he supposed to do? Yeah.
When I wrote my original like manifesto of why this was a terrible pick, that was one of the top reasons I highlighted is why would Jalen Hurts want to be here? And even still, like, if they get rid of Wentz, who's he going to throw to? Alshon Jeffrey's going to be gone next year, and Deshaun Jackson's going to be gone. So we could be in another scenario where we're like, all right, the quarterback looks bad. Again, who's he throwing to? Too far down the line. We just have to go win the division this year.
Washington wins one more game and it's pretty much over.
Really?
I think there's with tiebreakers, and I think it's very difficult. Oh, if Washington wins one more game, Dallas is officially eliminated.
Well, I was looking at the schedules. Let me actually pull up Washington's schedule, because they showed Washington's and the Giants, and it is not easy. So let me pull up Washington's and see what's good with it. But I'm pretty sure they play the Seahawks next week. They do. So they go their last 3 games are Seahawks, tough one, Panthers, and Washington versus Eagles.
Yep.
So
that's not.
Dang, now we're dead.
And then the Giants, who just lost,
they have harder.
Browns, Ravens, Cowboys.
Yes. So
and the Browns are currently winning on Monday Night Football.
Did Nick Chubb score? Yes. While you figure that out, I will just say it. Buddy.
Yes, 3 carries, 13 yards, and a touchdown.
God damn it. Why?
Because it's your life.
All right. Well, yeah. Browns, that's a Sunday night football game. Is Browns Giants. What a year. But I mean, these are pretty tough schedules.
Yeah,
we
they are
out of this thing.
Congratulations.
No, I mean, like you too.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Play the Giants. We play Washington. Like, we can help ourselves out. You would, if you beat the Giants twice, that's great. Like, you have the tiebreaker.
Yeah. So flipping over to the Cowboys first. So they have the Niners, the Eagles, and the Giants left.
That's not a terrible schedule. Like, if you win your division games, I don't know if they can, but like, we're going on a run.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's enough, baby. We're on a run.
Oh God.
But let's get into your schedule, and let's get into your game yesterday. The Andy Dalton revenge game.
Andy Dalton revenge game for sure. I was joking last week, like, Team Tank, and I still am on Team Tank. I want a top 5 pick. But in the back of my brain, did I realistically ever think they were going to lose this game? No. I had a feeling that this was going to be a Cowboys win, and I kind of had to just be okay with that. So they didn't kill themselves. I think they're still sitting number 5 or number 4 currently right now with tiebreakers. There's like 7 4-9 teams right now in the NFL. It's unbelievable.
Real quick, this is my last point about the Eagles. The tie that everybody was so happy about because it would help us in the race for a playoff spot. You talked about all those 4-9 teams. Well, now we're ahead of them in the draft order because we're 4-8-1. Instead of being 4th like you guys are, we're 9th. So thanks for the tie.
Against the team the Cowboys manhandled with Andy Dalton.
Okay. We played Joe Burrow. I don't even know who the quarterback was. Ryan Finley.
It was not Ryan. He did not start. It was Brandon Allen. Brandon Allen played.
Come in?
No, I don't think so. Did he come in
at
one point? All right. Oh, yeah. What am I? Yeah. But Brandon Allen started the game. Let's see what their box score was. Yeah.
It wasn't good.
Yeah, Allen threw for 217 yards. He was moving. They were moving the ball. And then Finley came in for 2 throws for 5 yards. But the Bengals, I mean, they had, like we said, the beginning of the game to start the game out, they had 3 turnovers on their first 3 drives, 3 fumbles. So Clown Lawrence, who I used to call him that, and he's not allowed to be called that anymore because he's been balling the last few weeks. He apparently did not start the game yesterday, and he wasn't really happy about that. But they asked him, why didn't you start today? He's like, well, we started in base defense, and I'm not in base defense. And I was like, you're like one of the highest paid defensive ends in the why are you what? And this again shows you why Mike Nolan needs to be fired. Why is DeMarcus Lawrence not in base defense? He should be in base defense, prevent defense, nickel, dime. Just he needs to be in the game.
There's some players like Aaron Donald. It doesn't matter like what type of defense that you're in. Like
you're on the field.
Yeah. And I know DeMarcus Lawrence doesn't play the same position. He's on the edge, and maybe you want him in pass rushing situations, but it doesn't matter.
No, he's one of the best run stuffing defensive ends in the league. You want him on the field at all times. And he came in on the second play of the game, pissed off, and forced a fumble on Gio Bernard, who hasn't fumbled since like 2013.
Chestnut checkers, I guess. Maybe they knew they'd fire him up.
Yeah, but I will say, we'll start with the defense. They got the 3 turnovers, which was mind-blowing. Again, Clown Thompson has an interception last week, and this week forces a fumble, and you just can't make it up. But do I feel like what they did yesterday that they're fixed? Hell no. Do I feel like they've been playing with better effort? Yeah, their effort has been bad on defense. They were called out by McCarthy in public about their lack of effort, which has to be the worst. I'd rather a coach tell me I'm bad at football than tell me I'm not hustling. That's especially as a pro. So I think that really got under their skin, and that was one of their biggest takeaways yesterday. That they were busting ass from the first quarter to the fourth, which was good to see. And this defense needed a game where they kind of dominated. Now, I said it earlier, the Bengals did move the ball, and they moved the ball fairly easily. I mean, Allen threw for 217 yards and a touchdown, but they got the stops and they got the takeaways they needed, which they never get. And they only gave up 7 points, 1 touchdown to AJ Green, again, who was on my bench in fantasy. I decided not to play him because he's been terrible, but I should have played him against the Cowboys. Played Deebo Samuel instead. Got me 0.4 points because he got hurt. And then Noah Fant also got hurt. No points. It was great. So I was very happy the way the defense played. It was great seeing Aldon Smith get the fumble recovery touchdown, like 81 yards. So this defense needed a game like this. The Cowboys are the get right team where teams play against the Cowboys to get right, but the Bengals are even, get great. Yeah. So that's what the Cowboys needed. And McCarthy needed a game like this. He really did, for himself and to kind of not lose the locker room completely, because it kind of looked like maybe they were going to get back on track with the Vikings game, and then they fell on their face again. And then they did what they needed. This is what you do with bad teams. Yes, Dallas is a bad team, but the Bengals are a horrible team. And what do you do against horrible teams? Even if you're a bad team, you beat up on them. And they did what they had to do.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest way to put it, is you did what you had to do, even if you didn't want them to do it because it hurt their draft order. But yeah, I mean, it was inevitable. They're just a more talented team than that. And as much as we want our teams to lose because we want top 10 pick, top 5 pick, like there is something cool about watching your defense just ball out, get stopped, force turnovers. Like it's hard to root against the team. Like you want them to tank so bad, but it's really hard to root against them. I want Wentz to succeed, but I can't sit there and like hope Jalen Hurts throws it incompletion. I just can't do it.
No. It's the same thing as every time I go into a game hoping they lose. As soon as the ball is kicked off, I get back into fan mode, and all that goes out the window. And it was a big game. Obviously, you said Andy Dalton revenge game, and I felt good for him. He had a lot of success while having a shit ton of failure in Cincinnati. And speaking of in Cincinnati, I was listening to Cowboys on 105.3 The Fan today, and they had Nick Eatman on from DallasCowboys.com, and he's one of the few media guys that actually travels with the team. So he was talking about being there, and he's like, yeah, we got there in the weather, and it was, cold and gray and rainy. He goes, every time I'm in Ohio, it's the same. This is just, and I just immediately thought about you.
Yes, thank you. Is there another weather temperature? Remember the weather machine in that Disney Channel movie where they purposely made it snow? Is there some prick in Ohio who just purposely makes it just gray and rainy every single day?
He wakes up, he's like, you know what? Fuck you.
He's like, he's the Grinch of Ohio. Yeah. He just lives under a bridge in Cleveland next to some river that caught on fire due to pollution, hates his life. He's like, I chose violence today. You're all going to be miserable.
Some days he lets the sun come out at 7:45 in the morning. People are like, what the? And then he just presses the button. Clouds rolling.
Spin that thing. It's going back to gray. You're going to see raindrops on that deteriorated picture of LeBron James that used to be on that billboard.
All day long.
And in Cincinnati, you're like, what is a billboard?
Yeah, excuse me. So Andy, 16 of 23, 185 yards and 2 touchdowns. Didn't light the world on fire, but it was his best day throwing the ball. Huh?
Is that a ginger joke? Is that racist?
Racist. At least one ginger didn't play, another balled out, so it's okay. So it was the best day I've seen him throwing the ball as a Cowboy. He made all the throws, especially the out routes. And guess who showed up yesterday? And I say show up jokingly. He had 4 catches for 51 yards and a touchdown. And that was their leading receiver of the game, Amari Cooper. But these are the type of 4 for 51 touchdown, and he averaged 12.8.
There's something about him, man. Like that was such an Amari Cooper game.
These are the games he shows up in. Where it's the season on the line in Philadelphia, and he's tired and he's on the sideline. So, but in Cincinnati, when he knows they stink, he's going to play. Nobody else. I mean, their second leading receiver was CeeDee Lamb. He only had 2 for 46. So he spread it out. Schwartz had 3, Gallup had 2, Bell had 1, Zeke had 2, Pollard had 2. So nobody on the offense had a huge day, but I'm okay with that. They spread it around. They did what they had to do. The controversy for me right now, and I know he's fighting through a calf and some other injuries, but I mean, Zeke just shows me no juice right now. He had 12 carries for 48 yards, 4 yards a carry. Now Pollard had 11 for 39, 3.5 a carry. Not great, but going down the stretch, especially this week, if Washington wins, Dallas is eliminated. I kind of think it's sit Zeke the last 2 games, either get him right while at the same time seeing what you have in Pollard as an every down back. Because I honestly. Well,
I was just going to say, why risk the usage of Zeke and put more miles on the car for no reason? You know?
Especially because they've put a lot of miles on this car in a short period of time.
Yeah, why waste the gas in the tank?
I do think that he's gone after next season. I really do. They can get out of his contract free and clear. And who knows? Maybe he'll help out another team. But he's
nice to be able to get out of a contract.
Huh? Yeah. Look at that. They can get out of Amari Cooper next year too, free and clear. How about that? Instead of paying a kicker. But so I'm very interested to see how that plays out the rest of the season. I'm not saying that Tony Pollard's going to be the starting running back next year, and they're just going to go away from Zeke. I mean, he's still their bell cow, and they still have a ton, obviously, of issues up front with this offensive line. Basically, no starting linemen, so there's no holes there. But at the same time, you'd think with Zeke and when they had the All-Pros up front with Zach Martin, Travis Frederick, they've never been good at getting 1 to 2 yards, even with those guys. It's always a battle where it's you're all right, you have Zeke, just give it to him. You need 1.5 yards, and he gets a half a yard. Mm-hmm. And then they go for it again on 4th down, he gets stuffed. And it's I don't get it. But then he'll have the breakout games where he goes for 121 against the Eagles. But right now he just does not have the juice. And when I see Tony Pollard touch the ball, he has juice, whether it's kickoff returns, whether it's out of the backfield, whether it's catching the ball. So I would love to see more Tony Pollard as the season finishes up.
Yeah, I agree. I think for two reasons. One, like you said, the juice, and then two, like why even take more juice? Like you're really squeezing that orange now. So I totally agree with you on that one.
But they beat up on a bad team. They did what they had to do, like we said. They didn't kill themselves by winning. I don't want people to also at the same time be like, we're going to win the division now, because they're not. It's over. Season's done. But it was good to see them get a win like this and be like, okay, you know what? They can do it.
Yeah, there was just no way that our teams were losing out. It just wasn't going to happen, you know? Like they're grown men with pride.
Yes.
And the schedule was going to work out in a way. And we also weren't going to lose out because we play each other. So somebody wasn't going to lose out.
Somebody's going to win.
So yeah, I mean, I really didn't see either of us losing out and winning a few games really, because there's still too much talent left for them to just fold up shop. Like as much as you want a top 5 pick, there are a lot of teams that are worse than we are. It's just the reality.
Jaguars are terrible. Can you imagine being a Jets player and having to fly home to New Jersey from Seattle yesterday just after getting your teeth kicked in?
Yeah, 40-3. You know, like why even show up?
It's just
Jaguars lose again. The Jets are obviously terrible. Like there's a lot worse. Bengals, who we just talked about being a bad team you beat up on. Like there's a lot of bad teams that are below us. That I mean, the Texans hilariously I think are worse. And that's my last point of the day is like quarterback wise. Like I keep harping on, you got to put your quarterback in a good environment. Okay, here's the perfect example. Who's better, Deshaun Watson or Mitchell Trubisky?
Deshaun Watson.
Okay, and the Bears won 33-7 or something ridiculous. You know, like it's just a product of environment. But they're really bad. They don't even have their pick. There's teams that we're competing with who were just better than. So you just have to you weren't going to lose out and get the pick that you want. Like you weren't going to be top 3. Like we just had to take solace. And you know what? We had a good Sunday afternoon.
Yep. And at the same time, like I said, a win for Mike McCarthy is good because he's going to be the coach next year. They're not getting rid of him. So for, players that are going to be here next year under him to, not fold up shop, not quit on him completely and see that, he can help you win games sometimes, it's good for the future going forward.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. But I'm like, no. Do not let this win distract you from the fact that Howie Roseman, I am going to be in a steel cage with that man and I will destroy him. Like you do not deserve to keep your job, young man. Like don't think a win over the Saints changes anything how we feel about you. Don't get a warm and fuzzy feeling just yet, pal.
I can't wait to the offseason because it's just going to be so much fun with the speculation with both of our teams, but especially yours and with Wentz and where's he going to go? What's he going to say? Oh,
we do it all the time. Like this is a fan base who most historically, like funniest video ever. The lore of this fan base is they drunkenly talk themselves into Jeff Garcia. We're obviously going to talk ourselves into Jalen Hurts. Like this is just what we do. Like we just live for being in a constant state of controversy and just going through off seasons where instead of being like, we should probably get a better guard. We're going to be like, who's the quarterback? Who's the quarterback? And be like, we should probably get a good wide receiver or like a kicker who can kick it from 22 yards, which could be any literal person off the street.
Except for Dan Bailey yesterday.
Oh my God, that was so bad.
But
yeah, so we just love to be in this controversial state. And we'll be back now just like us.
Before we get out of here, did you hear my hot take of who I think will be the Indianapolis Colts quarterback when I said it on Branded Radio this weekend next year?
No, I'm guessing not Wentz if it's a hot take. I didn't hear it, but don't say anything.
Take a guess.
Is it draft or free agency?
Free agency. Well, I don't think he's going to be a free agent, but I think he's going to end up there.
Okay. I have 2 guesses.
Okay.
My first is Derek Carr.
No.
Deshaun Watson.
No.
I don't have many. Kirk Cousins.
No.
Okay, I don't have any more guesses.
Matt Stafford. Free
Ooh,
Matt
that is a good
Stafford.
one. That is a good one. Yep.
I think him on that team, that's a legit team. And I think Frank Reich would be great with Matt Stafford.
He'd be great with Carson Wentz, too.
Womp, womp. And on that note, we'll just let you all go. We will be back on Thursday with our TikTok famous power rankings, previewing the Cowboys and Eagles and everything else happening in the NFL. Maybe talk a little bit about the COVID vaccine that Commissioner Goodell said the NFL will not be jumping to the front of the line to vaccinate their players. So that's a good thing to hear. But at the same time, I want my football. But we have not had to talk about COVID a lot lately, which has been phenomenal. So I just can't believe we're heading into week 15 of the NFL season.
I know, really coming down the home stretch here. So we just got into like really hitting those power rankings hard. We, like we said, finally both won a game in the same week. So hopefully we can capitalize on it. And I'm just gonna really take advantage of previewing games and talking about games because we're really running out of opportunities to do so. And we may have a special guest on Wednesday. It's in the works. We may have a guest who is special in more ways.
I'm excited about that. I am excited about that. And then once the games are over, we'll have Kyle Yeomans and Kavanaugh and KT back on, and we'll have a lot of draft talk in the offseason.
Right back into the draft talk, baby.
Boom. But yeah, make sure you're following us on Twitter, Birds vs. Boys Pod, branded _sports, KMess22. Aidan is around. And make sure you get yourself some stateside vodka for Christmas.
Look, Christmas. No. Hello. We're going to have a snowstorm.
Snowstorm.
Foot of snow. You better have this. What else are you going to do if you don't have the booze? You know, there's two things you need: a shovel and a fifth of vodka from stateside.
Boom.
See you next week.
Snowstorm ready.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds vs. Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones. Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there. There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach. That is
the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.